biodiversity is absolutely crucial. It's the underpinning element for humankind to survive.
Without conservation today, I don't think there can be any life on Earth.
Unless people actually feel something for nature, they are never really going to do anything about it.
This is not something just for a bunch of Greens. The issue of protecting our planet is global.
The Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund, CEPF, brings together the funding of visionary donors that are interested in reaching out local civil society to improve the status of biodiversity in the most threatened areas of the world. We grant funds to enable local and national and international NGOs and private sector partners to make a difference. We are an intermediary that allows the donors to know that their funding is being spent smartly and strategically and that we're able to trace their money. And the world of civil society organizations that need this funding to make change in their places happen.
The real purpose of this initiative is to make sure that any issue is identified locally and that the solution is then addressed locally.
People are a critical element of ecosystems, not because they have the power to protect them, but also because they're benefiting from them. Think about development and a healthy economy accounting for all of the elements that nature provides. All those services that we are getting from ecosystems that we traditionally take for granted, like water flowing, nutrient cycling, like a healthy atmosphere, a stable climate. And many ecosystems around the world are under threat. We have been pushing too hard on changing them, and right now there are many, many critical ecosystems that are on the verge of collapsing.
What is clear is that unless we act immediately on many of these cases, there is no long term for the biodiversity, for the environment, for the climate, for all those things.
So the ecosystem profile then becomes this strategic document that guides the way that we grant funding in the future. It's actually a very interactive process, bringing people from local communities, from governments, experts, scientists, together to really think about the biodiversity crisis in that region and provide practical and very effective solutions.
I think CEPF has had and will have a very strong role in the conservation of the hotspots in Brazil. This money can be used on areas where the public money cannot be used, so they are complementary.
We work in developing nations in the areas where biodiversity is most threatened. We work in 60 countries around the world now, and we are increasing the number of places where we work.
It's not just a one-off intervention, it's an attempt to address what, in the case of conservation issues, are always long-term frameworks in which action is needed.
In a country like in India, as much as we would like to protect and conserve biodiversity and nature, at the same time we have to understand what are the linkages of people's livelihoods, people's cultures, people's aspirations to nature. The mission of Keystone is very much to integrate economics and ecology through business, through livelihoods, through governance, through institutions. And CEPF, they're in a very, very unique position to bring us what works where and how and what doesn't work.
CEPF is definitely a business proposition in the way that we want to be strategic. We are very responsible with the funding that our donors are giving us, and we know that we want to be able to grant funding in those places where we can have the biggest impact.
They decided to put in a significant amount of money into a country like Sierra Leone that was just coming out of a war, when for most donors it was too dangerous a country to invest in. Today, Tiwa Island is the only functioning community-led research and ecotourism facility in Sierra Leone. It's an animal lover's paradise. When you arrive on Tiwa, you're surrounded by this forest, and you walk around and it's like, there are so many eyes looking at you, and you don't know what these eyes are. But this is, I think, what makes people want to come back. It also is what makes it so precious as a place to protect. We can say, well, Tiwa is still there thanks to the fact that we had funding from CEPF. It created an opportunity for us to have a voice to speak on behalf of nature in a way that we never had before.
It's a lot more than just money. Grantees get access to information, they get access to donors, they get access to systems. They improve their capacity in terms of managing and reporting on a grant, for example, and that allows them to be able to be recipients of funding from other donors in the future.
To us, it seems like CEPF is our partner. We work absolutely side by side. We don't get an impression that they are donors out just to give money and forget about us. It's been a very, very valuable support for us to grow in our work.
I think what we are after is a smarter way of using resources. It's about people being able to have a better living and a better economic situation while taking care of the planet.